Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Imperial Guard, as we get into what it takes to raise an Imperial Guard regiment. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and this video is actually a special video because there's going to be a little explanation at the end, as well as a giveaway, because we really want to support the Iron Sleet team. More information on the giveaway and the awesomeness that Iron Sleet is doing at the end of the video. So right now, let's get into 40 facts on raising an Imperial Guard regiment. In the instances where a threat to the Imperium cannot be repulsed by local defense forces or naval assets, the Departamental Minitorum will sanction immediate deployment of the Imperial Guard. Such a response will be guided by the wisdom imparted in the strategic parables of the Minitorum. This threat response pattern has served the Imperium well for thousands of standard years. Initial forces will be drawn from the localized assets deemed sufficient for the task at hand. This includes any guardsmen already mobilized within response range, along with regiments raised from neighboring worlds. Such forces can be desperate in nature, requiring officers to prove themselves adept at working with whatever material is at hand. Should a threat escalate or prove greater than initial response forces can handle, the Minitorum will expand their designated conflict zone, drawing down relentless waves of reinforcement to crash upon the foe until it is entirely ground to a dust. In this way, even the onrushing fury of an orc wall can be brought to a grinding halt, or the nimble Eldar drowned in manpower and ordnance. Regiments en route to their designated war zone usually possess some previous military experience, whether culturally inherited or earned through campaigns already fought in the Emperor's name. While aboard their troop ships, these regiments will be further trained to deal with the specifics of the war into which they are being sent, whether this is learning to recognize and combat particular inhuman foes, use of environmental specific equipment, or acclimation to peculiarities of the destination world. Such orientation can be vital. Imperial Guard regiments from feral worlds, for example, will be rendered catatonic if unprepared for the immensity of the standard Imperial Hive City. On deployment, Imperial Guard forces operate according to the tenets of the Tactica Imperium, strictly enforced by the rigid chain of command. Regiments complement each other's strengths and weaknesses, ensuring that the army as a whole is greater than the sum of its parts. When facing especially ferocious or peculiar enemies, such as demons spilling from the warp, or the horrors of the Tyranid swarm, this standardized method of making war can encounter costly snags. Yet with the constant flow of new manpower enjoyed by the High Command, individual engagements with casualty rates as high as 100% can be considered rousingly successful, providing the fallen first achieve their allotted task, or highlight some strategic weakness in the foe. When an army is amassed, regiments are drawn from many different planets, resulting in a conglomeration of uniforms and combat skills rather than a single homogeneous force. Bioscreen techno-troopers fight side by side with primitive barbarians, and noble-born soldiers rub shoulders with the lowliest Hive Ganger fighters. Should the Imperium's response not prove to be decisive in crushing an enemy, then the sphere around the conflict zone is increased in ever larger increments, as reinforcements are drawn from further away and more regiments are raised to replace the losses. This ponderous process repeats itself until the enemy is grounded and destroyed, the massed force of the Astra Militarum slowly pounding at the foe until eventually the hammer blow is delivered and all the resistance is completely and utterly shattered. In this way, the harder a foe strikes at the Imperium, the greater its response will be. Many of the newly raised regiments inducted into the Astra Militarum will already have some fighting experience. This may have taken the form of formal military instructions, or simply by the result of the harsh conditioning in which they live. Only the strongest survive the gang wars of the Hive Worlds, the tribal conflicts of medieval feudal worlds, or the carnivorous predators that stalk the Death Worlds. In any case, during the long voyage between their homeworld and the regiment's destination, the newly inducted guardsmen will receive intensive training that tempers the natural fighting skills of their many disparate cultures, and forge them into a soldier worthy of the Astra Militarum. They are trained in the use of specialized weaponry and vehicles, and receive proper indoctrination into the Imperial cult. Officers are tutored in the broader aspects of the Tactica Imperium, all the while being judged under the vigilant gaze of the Officio Prefectus. The regiment will be drilled for many solar weeks before their trial by fire in the crucible of war. The training is also intended to adapt and, where necessary, re-educate the new recruits for the inevitable shock of fighting on foreign worlds. It is unlikely that a guardsman from the monolithic spires of a hive city has ever seen the open sky, while those from a backward agri-world will never have seen the towering might of a mountain-sized basilica sanctum, or set foot inside the twisting labyrinth of a sprawling factorum city. Should a regiment survive a campaign, it is unlikely that it will return to its homeworld, moving instead from one war zone to another. As casualties reduce the overall strength of the fighting forces, regiments are often amalgamated together so that united they can continue to wage the Emperor's war. Where possible, two half-strength regiments from the same militarum regimentum will combine, but it is not uncommon for the two desperate cultures to find themselves brothers in arms. Many commanders declare that the reduced efficiency of these combined regiments make them barely worth their rations, infighting and mistrust hampering their battlefield effectiveness. Other commanders are interested only in the number of men-at-arms that can be fielded, their successful interrogation as a fighting unit a secondary concern. A handful of particularly canny officers prefer to lead combined regiments as they can harness the diverse skill sets and ingrained competitiveness of their soldiers. If a regiment has been so badly mauled, it is considered a waste of time and resources to combine it with other Imperial forces. They may be assigned garrison duty on a nearby world, usually the very same planet they have been fighting for. The safety of the world and its population becomes the duty of the regiment's remnants. The garrisoning of such worlds is vital. After a brutal war in which the local defense force is inevitably decimated and the planet's government left in tatters, the small Astra Militarum contingent may be the only loyal force left to impose law and maintain control for many solar decades. In rare circumstances, a regiment may be granted custodianship over a world as a reward. The officers of such forces inevitably become wealthy and powerful figures in the society they maintain watch over, forming the new noble and ruling classes. And those were 40 facts on raising an Imperial Guard regiment. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The thing that's awesome about this lore is that it really paints a picture of what the Imperial Guard or the Astra Militarum truly is. It is not just your whitewash Cadian guardsmen. The Imperial Guard in itself is just a vast wave of, men and women from different cultures that fight for the Imperium. And the other reason I wanted to share this lore with you guys is because I wanted to breed some inspiration and also bring to highlight this awesome project going on right now with the Iron Sleet team. The Iron Sleet team is a group of people who I found out about on Instagram, and right now they're doing an invitational. Basically, it's a team of people who just create some really awesome sculpts and put so much awesome lore, Warhammer 40K lore, behind it. I'm going to link their website down in the description below, so the best way to understand what the Iron Sleet team is all about is by going into their website and just looking at their previous projects and, of course, the invitational. They are inviting anybody who wishes to participate into building their own Imperial Guard regiment to help them bring the Moons of Thorn to compliance. It's a narrative campaign where you build 5 human-sized models that fit the description of the humble human in the Galactic War. And really, it's a way for you to show an understanding of what Warhammer 40K is all about. And this video really helps illustrate how an Imperial Guard regiment doesn't necessarily have to be your basic Cadian Guard or your basic Death Corps of Krieg. Imperial Guard regiments come from all over the galaxy, and different planets breed different looking regiments. And within one campaign, like this Thorn Moon campaign, There could be regiments that look completely different from one another, but they're both fighting for the Imperium. They're both fighting for the Inquisition. They're just coming from different planets. And that's really what Iron Sleet is trying to illustrate with this awesome narrative campaign and invitational. We would not be a good lore channel if we did not highlight the work that these guys are doing. We're not connected to Iron Sleet at all, other than just, being fans and following them on Instagram, but I really wanted to showcase this because I'm pretty sure that a lot of our viewers, you tune in every single day to learn about the lore, and this team, the Iron Sleet team, is just doing an amazing job of connecting the lore with the actual hobby of sculpting and modeling. So I really wanted to showcase this and explain the awesome work that these guys are doing. So check them out. If you look at their Instagram, they have a very unique style of creating their sculpts. If you look at their sculpts, you would definitely say, yes, that is Warhammer 40K. It is spot on. It is in the Blanchitsu style. The style inspired by the art of John Blanche. I tried to use as many images of John Blanche as I could in this lore video because I really wanted to showcase how awesome the models look when you create them in the way that you would see in like John Blanche's art. And with that said, I also wanted to highlight this awesome subgroup within the greater Warhammer 40K hobby, because we have a lot of viewers who say they don't necessarily play Warhammer 40K because they don't have a good group in their area. They love the lore, they love the grim dark look of Warhammer 40K, but they're the only people in their town or their city that actually plays Warhammer 40K. You don't need to go in every weekend and play at a GW store in order to become part of the hobby. A lot of this awesome hobby is just sculpting and creating your models, and this Blanchitsu style is a subgroup within the greater Warhammer 40K hobby that really puts an emphasis on each individual model. So take your time to invest lore, painting, everything into an individual model, and that really fulfills the desire to become part of the Warhammer 40K hobby. It's best to just dive into it and start looking at other people's work and connecting through Instagram and other forums in order to understand the Blanchitsu style and understand this subgroup within Warhammer 40K. So I would just say click on the link to the Iron Sleet website, and their posts, their sculpts do a much better job of explaining this subgroup than I could do in words. But again, I want to invite all of our viewers to jump on over there, participate in this invitational. There's only like a month left, but you could still pick up a good regiment and start kit bashing your models. In order to add a little bit more incentive for you guys to participate in the Iron Sleet Invitational, we are giving away the Militarum Tempestus Scion box set. This is an awesome box set that comes with 5 models or Scion models that you can use as your base for your own Imperial Guard regiment. Now, you don't have to participate in what Iron Sleet is doing in order to win this. All you have to do is like, comment, subscribe, and of course share this with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. The winner is going to be announced in a couple days, 2 or 3 days. The reason for that is because the Iron Sleet Invitational is, I think there's only a month left. So I want to get the box set to you if you want to participate as soon as possible. So the winner is going to be picked from the comment section below. Just don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, share. And then we'll send that out to you, and you can either kit bash this and participate in the invitational, or just create some awesome Tempestus Scions. Now, Iron Sleet is not promoting us or anything like that. Again, this is just out of our own will. I'm a big fan of the team, and I really want you guys to at least know about them. So check their website out and follow them on Instagram. Links are going to be down in the description. Good luck if you decide to participate, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with some more awesome lore. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.